I'm betting the farm on one skill and one skill alone in 2025. And this is a skill that everyone that I'm inspired and expanded by has cultivated, and it's something that makes people so much more magnetic. Whether you're an artist, a creative, a one-person business, a musician, a therapist, a coach, a speaker, a writer, whatever it is, it's the skill that is going to amplify, expand, and give you so much leverage in a world that is dysregulated, disconnected, and distracted. So in this video, I want to break down what this one skill is, why I'm bullish, I'm going all in on this skill, and how you can begin to cultivate it and stretch your capacities so that you can see some profound results in your life by just focusing on this one skill. So if you're new here, my name's Kev. I'm an award-winning furniture designer, creative strategist, and now I help ambitious creatives design and build a life and business that they love, that is aligned, that is an expression of their most authentic code. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So this skill is what I call embodied presence. Now we've all heard someone say, just be present, bro. Like, be here and now. And that's kind of getting started in the direction, right? But to talk about embodied presence, I want to break down the difference between what it means to be present and what it means to be present. And then I want to talk about how you can begin to stretch your capacity so that you can embody more presence, and how it's going to show up in your life in unexpected ways, and how this can just be implemented into every sector of your life so that you can grow. Because, oh boy, this is such a powerful, beautiful skill. So being present is really about being here in time and space. It's about being here and now. It's about having your attention, having your focus. And while all that's beautiful, I think there's one step deeper. Embodying presence is radiating and emanating that feeling of presence to the world around you. It's being the container of presence. It's not using a moment to be present, it's becoming the moment of presence. Think about the people who, when you're in their presence, no pun intended, I'll probably say this word a lot. The people who, when you're in their presence, you feel inspired, you feel regulated, you feel like you can just look them in the eyes without saying anything. I mean, the classic example are these traditional spiritual teachers and gurus where people will just look them in the eyes for 5 minutes and then break out in tears or laughter. Deep, deep embodied presence. And while that's, one sector, this really is going to be so powerful for anyone who is, giving their gifts to the world creatively as a service business, as a provider of something unique to the world, because it is fucking magnetic. It's like, imagine being able to walk into a space where you are fully magnetic in your power, in your body, where you inspire others around you just because of how deeply embodied you are in presence, to where the person behind you in line at the coffee shop wants to talk to you. The person maybe in front of you pays for you. And again, this isn't like, I'm not speaking to like, this is what's gonna happen. These are just things I'm noticing happen in my life as I attune to really embodying more presence, being less concerned about yesterday and tomorrow. Obviously, planning is sexy, really, setting yourself up, but at the same time, learning what it's like to be a regulated nervous system for the world. Learning what it's like to be able to hold this space wherever you go. It doesn't mean that you're having deep discussions with everyone that you cross, no. But it does mean that wherever you go, the people that brush up against you will be inspired by the way that you hold yourself. So embodied presence is not just being here, seeing somebody and listening. It's really permeating the space with your presence. It's being with someone and not just hearing what they're saying, it's feeling what they're saying. It's not just seeing them, it's seeing into them and through them. It's seeing the divine through. It's loving through, not loving to. And the way that this can relate to something like business and offering your creativity is, imagine what happens when you, one, express yourself. Let's say make a video, write, whatever that is. How you create, rather where you create from, is what is felt in your creation by the world. The energy that you embody, that you put into your craft, is what is felt. So let's say you go to meet with a client and you are just connected to your breath. You're holding yourself tall and strong. Your heart is open and high. Before you even walked in the door, you made sure to take a couple deep breaths and to kind of gather yourself to where when you are present with someone, you are the presence. You are demanding the presence of the moment. You're immediately more trustworthy because you're here. You are like an unwavering stand for the moment of connection, People that aren't fully here aren't very trustworthy, right? If someone's talking to you and they're looking around and tapping their leg and kind of looking at the pretty girl that walks in or the cute guy or whatever, it's like, that's not super trustworthy. But people that embody this presence that says, I am here with you. I am right here with you. You are the most important thing to me right now, is this moment of connection. Whether that's you paying the barista, having a meeting with a high-ticket client that's gonna pay you a lot of money for a service, or connecting with your lover. It's not just being present. It's not the surface sensations, right? It's not just listening, seeing, touching, and feeling. It's permeating through from such a depth of your being. Because a lot of your gift to the world, especially if you're a man, is the level of depth that you bring, the level of depth and presence that you embody. That is what the world feels, right? So how you can really begin to stretch this skill and start to see impact is creating, one, a breathwork practice I would recommend daily, but especially preparing yourself, preparing your body, preparing your mind whenever you enter a space. You drive somewhere, you train, whatever it is that you do. On your way, really practice connecting to your breath deeply, breathing deep into your system, focusing and counting your breath, not thinking, just really being with your breath, doing what you need to do to come here, to be able to kind of straighten your spine, to kind of stand a little taller, to open your heart just that much more to the world. You take the time to do that, you are immediately entering any space that much more full of life, vitality, and authenticity, right? You are immediately that much more resourced to just be you, right? And the goal isn't to just force yourself to serve every single space that you enter consciously. It's largely can just become a secondary, indirect thing. You might not have to say a word, you might not have to look at anybody, but people can feel you. And I can attest to this so strongly. I have been working at a different coffee shop for the last few months, and I sit there, and while I'm working, I'm consciously just deeply breathing into my belly and opening my heart and allowing my awareness to kind of expand beyond just me and what I'm focused on, expand. And almost daily, I'll catch somebody looking at me, and maybe this just happens to everyone, but I've noticed it so much more recently where people are curious about me. I'll have people come up and sit down and ask me what my name is and want to talk to me. I'll have these kind of spontaneous, deep conversations emerge that I attribute just to being deeply present, because the world craves that. The world is so distracted and so dysregulated. So to be a sort of nervous system that that has a wider window of tolerance to stresses, to, triggers and all these textures and flavors of life, where you can just hold space and meet whatever enters that space, that is so fucking valuable, right? To be a balanced and regulated human and nervous system in a world that is so far from that is a high value skill. That is such a high value skill. And the world deeply, deeply, deeply craves that. So as we kind of teeter off further into the extremes of AI and other things that we're inevitably gonna have to explore all the dark crevices of as a species, right? I think being so deeply human and this embodied presence is irreplaceable. It is the only irreplaceable skill if you really boil it down. The depth and presence that you can embody as a human is irreplaceable, right? I mean, I suppose some animals, like sometimes dogs, cats especially, can have mystic moments of deep awareness where you do feel sort of penetrated by like their depth. It's like, wow, like that cat just saw my soul, you know, and again, that's not the goal. The goal isn't to like peer into somebody's, you know, psyche and soul all the time. But it's just to expand your capacity to where you are so embodied in the present, acknowledging, you know, you're gonna have fears, you're gonna have shit you wanna do, you're gonna have stuff that you're planning for and striving for, absolutely. And you do all of that from a very deeply embodied present state. Your tolerance to stay regulated through life's turmoil and inevitables is strong. People find that magnetic. Life wants to move people in blessings in abundance towards that person. Life wants to give opportunities in the direction of those people. So I see embodied presence as a skill that is absolutely irreplaceable, that is gonna pay dividends. You know, your relationships will expand, opportunities will grow because people trust you more, you're magnetic. You can express yourself so much more authentically when you're fully here, when you're emotionally fluid and allow yourself to have these experiences so that you can get to regulation and expand your window of tolerance that much further. So I'm betting the farm on this because we're going so in the opposite direction that I think people that rebel against that to some degree and really focus on being just this strong nervous system that's embodied presence, man, the world's gonna crave that and the world's gonna pay a lot for that. So that's my take. If you resonate, I'd love to know what you think. If you want more deep insight, practices, experiments, sign up to my newsletter. That's where you'll get all of the you'll be in the know about all of my workshops, programs, and courses, to where you can really just take your practice in expanding as a creative human, scaling your one-person business from the inside out with these tools and techniques. That's the place to be. So in the meantime, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.